Hello, today I am telling you about the terrible event that happened to me. Don't forget to write in the comments where you watched it. Now let's move on to the story. I remember it like it was yesterday, though it happened many decades ago. I was just a little girl then, not more than 7 or 8, living in my grandmother's house in the countryside. The house was old, with wooden floors that creaked under every step, and windows that rattled even with the slightest breeze. My grandmother was a kind woman, with soft hands and a quiet voice, who always smelled faintly of lavender. But it was the attic that fascinated me most, a dusty, shadowed room that seemed to hold secrets behind every old chest and forgotten corner. One rainy afternoon, when the wind rattled the shutters and the sky was a dull, angry grey, I was left alone in the house. My grandmother had gone to the village to fetch some medicine, leaving me with a warning not to climb into the attic. Of course, that warning only made me more curious. I found the narrow, winding stairs hidden behind a worn tapestry and slowly climbed up, my small hand brushing the cold wooden railing. The attic smelled of dust and old paper, a mix of forgotten times, and in the far corner, I noticed an old mirror leaning against the wall. It was tall, with an ornate frame that had darkened over the years, curling vines carved into the wood like frozen shadows. I approached it cautiously. My reflection stared back at me, pale and trembling in the dim light, but there was something strange about it. For a moment, I thought it was smiling, though I wasn't. I tilted my head, and it tilted in perfect synchrony, yet the expression lingering on its face seemed slightly different. Warmer, somehow, like it was aware of me, not just reflecting me. I remember feeling a shiver, not of fear exactly, but of anticipation, as if the mirror had been waiting, knowing I would come. Days passed, or maybe it was hours. Time felt strange near that mirror. Every time I returned to the attic, the reflection seemed more aware, more attentive. It wasn't that it moved on its own, rather, it watched, and sometimes, when I dared to whisper, "Hello," it whispered back in the smallest, softest echo, almost like a sigh of relief. I told no one. Who would believe a child speaking with a mirror? Yet, it became a companion of sorts, patient and curious, as if it knew the world beyond the glass but chose to stay with me. One evening, during a particularly violent thunderstorm, the house shook, and a window in the attic banged open, letting in cold rain that drenched the floor. I ran to close it, but when I turned back, I noticed something impossible, a name written across the fogged surface of the mirror. Not in any neat handwriting, but as if it had appeared out of nowhere. It was my name. My full name, the one my grandmother used only when she was serious or worried. I froze, staring, my small chest tightening. The reflection wasn't just a reflection anymore, it felt alive, as if it understood the sudden wave of fear, wonder, and something I could not yet name. "Do you know me?" I asked, my voice barely a whisper. The mirror shimmered, rippling like water in a pond disturbed by a stone, and then I heard it, not as a voice, but in a feeling, a warmth that wrapped around me. "I do." My heart leapt, and at the same time, my mind screamed caution. But I could not look away from that day. I returned often, sitting cross-legged in front of it, talking quietly about school, about my friends, about the small worries of a child. The mirror always listened. Sometimes, it seemed to respond, showing fleeting images of things I had never seen but somehow recognized, the way the light fell through the kitchen window in the mornings, or the tiny garden behind the house, only sketched in shadows on its surface. I realized, slowly, that the mirror remembered things, understood things. And I, in my innocence, began to confide, feeling an emotional connection that I could not explain to anyone else. Years later, I understood that the mirror was not dangerous. It never demanded anything from me, never scared me with sudden movements or strange figures. Instead, it held space for me, a quiet companion in a world that often felt too large and too loud. I felt respected, as though it recognized my smallness and my fears, but also my thoughts, my joys, and my questions. I learned to speak softly, to listen, to trust. It was only after I grew older and my grandmother passed that I revisited the attic one last time. The mirror had grown dusty, the ornate frame dulled, yet I could still feel its presence. I touched the glass, expecting nothing, and it felt cold but familiar, like the hand of an old friend. I whispered my name, and for a heartbeat, I swear I saw a smile, as if to say goodbye and thank you. I realized then that the mirror had not only known my name, it had known me, in ways no one else ever had, and had held me gently through the long, lonely stretches of childhood. Even now, decades later, I sometimes dream of that attic, the storm outside, and the mirror that waited. I smile at the memory, not with fear, but with gratitude. Life teaches us strange lessons, sometimes through people, sometimes through objects, and occasionally, through reflections that seem to see more than our eyes ever could. And for me, that mirror was a silent witness, a gentle companion, and a reminder that even in the scariest moments of life, someone or something might just be quietly holding your hand.